Okay, thank you, Miss Nunn. Okay, so I motion that we call this meeting to order. This with and that this we approve our agenda for today. This is our agenda for our meeting on April 22nd, today at 5:30. Can someone accept today's agenda, please?
I accept
Motion,
it.
I accept.
Thank you. Okay, so roll call. We have, I'm gonna have to just look at my screen because it's not showing me on this thing here. For some reason. I apologize. It's telling me to activate something on my screen. I do apologize. So I'm just gonna go through here. Andrea Nunn,
I'm not a part of the Go team, so you don't have to worry about me.
okay. Gino Turner,
Present.
Corey Frazier,
Present.
Officer Clay,
Present.
Cherie Rosales,
Present.
Miss Sullivan,
Present.
Miss Owens,
Present.
and Miss Williams.
Present.
Okay. And we have our guest with us today, Miss Hilaire. Welcome.
Do
Hello,
I have,
welcome.
do I need to share the other document, Miss Tolman?
Yes, we need to, yes, my thing froze up. I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to open it on my phone. But we want to look over our last minute meetings. And we're going to, once we look at it, I'm going to ask someone to please accept our minutes from last meeting. Thank you, Ms. Nunn. Can someone move to accept last minute's meeting?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Can I get someone to second that?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay. So looking at the agenda, um, open this part. We are our action items are to approve our next meeting. Because we missed a meeting, we have to reschedule for either May 13th or May 20th. So we
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Miles couldn't be here, so I'm in his space. So just
yes.
to bring some context to that, we had the snowstorm in January and we weren't able to hold that meeting on that particular day. So to keep in compliance, we do have one more meeting that we need to schedule. So we have two dates available that are not going to interfere with either our milestones testing or end of year. And like Ms. Tolman was saying, one date available is May 13th. The other date available is May 20th. Both of these are Tuesdays. We would keep the same time. We just need to have one more meeting to make sure that we are fulfilling our obligation. So, Ms. Tolman, you may want to ask people their preferences and do a quick vote, and then that will be where you guys go forward for the next meeting.
Okay. Yes, so thank you, Ms. Nunn. I'm sorry, I'm trying to share my screen and something closed. I'm just going to see if this actually works, but I don't think it does. It's not being great. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to keep going. So yes, we would like to vote for either of those days, May 13th or May 20th. So I would ask all those in favor of May 13th to say aye or say yes? Or,
Aye.
so
Aye.
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 Okay. It looks like so far the majority is May 13th. Does anybody, I'll make sure I have the majority, but does anybody like May 20th? Would anybody like that date?
Yes, I do. May 20th. Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, it looks like it was 4 for May 13th and 2 for May 20th. And
I
then,
could do either.
okay,
I'll make it work.
you make it work okay, so based on the people just saying that, is it okay to do May 20th? Is anybody okay with that date? Is everybody else okay with that date?
I think you made the 13th.
Okay, I did say the 13th, but a lot of people said they could do either. So I was trying to see if you could do either with the 20th would be okay. The people who said the 13th, are they okay with the 20th or would prefer the 13th?
It
I
don't make,
prefer to, yeah, I prefer to just get it done, but it doesn't matter to me either way.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm flexible.
okay, you could do either. Okay, okay, well, then it looks like it's the 13th. Can we, all in favor of the 13th?
aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now we will have our discussion items from Ms. Nunn, who is filling in for Mr. Miles. Well, you can refer to the agenda for those things, which will be the spring map results and the needs assessment test.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to pull up my screen and share for everybody. And like always, this document will be available on our Go Team website once the meeting has concluded. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in, and we're going to talk about our spring map results. And for this particular meeting, we are going to have some discussion as a Go Team group after we've shared the results so that people can provide some input, and that'll be a part of the needs assessment part of this discussion, which you'll see after we go over all the spring map results. For those of you who are not particularly aware, we take MAP 3 times a year, once in the fall. That's usually around August. Then we have another administration in the wintertime, which happens around December. And then we just finished our spring MAP results, which were in March. All kindergarten through 5th grade students take MAP here at Slater. So what we're going to look at is our results from fall, winter, and spring, so we can then have that as part of our discussion. Here are our spring GMAS and K through 2 goals. These were set at the end of last year, once we finished with milestones in the spring of 2024. And these are the goals based off our results from the milestone, what we said we wanted to do once we completed this school year in the spring. So we have for 3rd to 5th grade, we want to increase the percentage of students scoring developing and above in math from 41.9% to 58%. Also in 3rd through 5th grade for math, we want to increase the percentage of students scoring proficient and above in math from 8.7 to 17.4%. For ELA, for grades 3 through 5, we want to increase the percentage of students scoring developing and above from 33.6 to 49.1. And for 3 through 5 again, we want to increase the percentage of students scoring proficient and above in ELA from 10% to 20% by the spring 2025 administration of our Georgia milestones. So when we talk about those proficiencies, we have beginning, developing, proficient, and distinguished. Our goal is to get as many students in the proficient and above, and we want to make sure that we are still moving students out of the beginning to developing and above. When we look at overall our scorecard for the state, we don't get any points for students who are scoring in the beginning category. So our goal is always to go have our students scoring between developing all the way proficient. It's weighted. So proficient being the top weight where you get a point and a half. Excuse me, not proficient, excuse me, distinguished, which is the top weight, which will get a point and a half. Proficient being right underneath distinguished, you get 1 point, and developing, you get 0.5. Beginning, if the students score in the beginning category, which means they're scoring based on those GMAT results, they're scoring below grade level, we wouldn't get any points for students who are scoring in that category. So we're always trying to make sure that our students are moving from beginning to those other categories. Our kindergarten through second grade students do not take the MAP assessment. So when we look at, do not take the GMAS assessment. So when we're looking at MAP, we're looking at their growth. And for our goals, we wanted our K through second grade students, 60% of those roster students, to meet the individual MAP growth goals in both ELA and math. And for those same students, for the median growth percentile for the individual teacher's class to be in the 60th percentile for or better for ELA and for math. So before we start looking at the actual scores, I want to make sure that everybody is clear on what that looks like when we're looking at MAP. Any questions so far? All right, great. So moving on. This is the completion rate for our spring tests. Majority of our students did test. We have 99% of those students who did not test. They were due to absences. We had some withdrawals of students in certain grade levels, but majority of our students at the school did test for this spring MAP. Right here, you see the achievement projections for third through fifth grade in the area of reading. So as you can see, you have the 3 columns going from fall to winter to spring. And by each grade level, you can see the projections. If milestones was to happen today, this is the projection. This first upper column is students who will be scoring developing and above. So for third grade in the spring, we had 69.9%, 70% of students. In fourth grade, we had 35% of students. And in fifth grade, we had 54% of students. That spring, again, these are the students who will be scoring developing and above. We also pulled out data for our students who are identified. These are students who have IEPs. They may have a 504. And we have 18.2% of these students in grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th who were scoring at developing and above. So overall, of our 3rd through 5th grade students, 52% of our students by the spring administration were scoring at developing or above. Our goal for developing and above for 3 through 5 is 58%. In proficient and above, the bottom data that we're seeing, you can see 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And again, in the spring, we had 27.4 of our 3rd graders, 11% of our 4th graders, and 29% of our 5th graders who were scoring at proficient and above. Our students with disabilities, from our winter to spring, we did a huge leap. We went from 5.3% of our students to 9.1% of our students. 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders scoring at proficient and above, which is a huge thing for our students, because reading is has for some students is that difficult area. And we look overall at proficient and above, we scored 21.6 for the spring administration. Our goal was 17.4. So looking at developing and above and proficient and above, we're well on pace to meet that goal. One thing we have to say about the reading is that this particular map does not encompass everything that they will see on GMAS. It does not talk about the writing portion. So when we're looking at this is only talking about those multiple choice questions that students would receive on that GMAS assessment. The MAP unfortunately does not test for writing. So we do have other avenues where we are looking at data for writing, but this is only giving us a piece of the picture when we look at the reading. When we're looking at math, the projections again, we have third, fourth, and fifth grade and fall to spring. So our third graders at developing and above were at 69%. Our fourth graders were at 43%, and our fifth graders were at 43% also. The students with disabilities, we were at 14% with an overall for third, fourth, and fifth at developing and above at 51%. When we look at proficient and above, third grade at 23%, fourth grade at 7%, fifth grade at 7%, fourth graders at 4.5, which gives us a proficient and above projection of 12.1%. Math, because we don't have any writing portion, is really giving us a better indication of where we may fall if this was Georgia Milestones today. For the math, we wanted to be at 50, excuse me, at math, we wanted to be at 58%. As you can see, we're at 51. And for proficient and above, we wanted to be at 17.4. We're at 12.1. And I need to go back to the ELA. I gave you the wrong numbers. For developing and above, we want to be at 49.1. We're at 52. And then for proficient and above for ELA, we want to be at 20%. We're at 22. So at developing and above and proficient and above, we're on pace in the area of reading. Again, there's no writing in this particular administration, but for math, there's still some work to be done. We have not, at this point in the school year, gotten to the goal that we have set for ourselves. Still a little time. We've got some things that we have going on. We've got grade levels that are doing targeted support. We looked at our targeted support not only during the day, but also when we're doing with our after school students. So our third and our fourth grade teachers, they have identified students that maybe bubble on the bubble of either going from developing to proficient or proficient to distinguished. And those are students that we're targeting with a little bit more support after school and even in small groups. And that has been going on for the last few weeks. When we look at our kindergarten through second grade, we're talking about meeting that goal. Kindergarten, we had 49% of our students who either met or exceeded their goal. And in math, we had 81. In first grade, we had 37 in reading and 37 in math. And in second grade, we had 36 in both reading and math. So as a total for kindergarten through second grade, when we're looking at students that either met or exceeded their goal, 41% of those students did that in the area of reading, and 51% of students did that in the area of math. It's important to note second grade, they'll be moving to third grade next year. So we're really paying attention to those students who may be struggling in the areas of reading and math and finding those supports they need. A lot of support comes in the pre-K 1 area with our phonics programs and things of that nature to make sure that we are closing those gaps before they get into second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. Still work to be done. So as we're looking at these, we want to go ahead and look at our needs assessment. So we will look at the data from the spring map and identify 2 to 3 potential needs for the 25-26 school year. So for the 25-26 school year, we do have a few changes happening. We are in the process of hiring a director of curriculum and instruction. And this person will be leading our efforts to make sure that we are identifying the specific needs in the areas of reading and math. And this person will be working with elementary, middle, and high school. We've also done some things with our curriculum. Our ELA curriculum is going to change next year. This is from the state. So this is our last year that we will be using the current ELA standards that we have been using for the past, I don't know, it's been a while. It's been at least 10 years. And we're going to be moving into new ELA standards that look quite different than what we have been using in the past. So those are just some things along that we're going to need to think about as we think about what our needs are for the 25-26 school year. So the next portion of this meeting is we're going to try to answer these questions. These are some guiding questions that we can talk about. And this is basically the team. We're asking you to help with this discussion. What does the data tell you? What good news is there to celebrate? Where are the growth opportunities and what trends do you see in the data? And as the team talks, I will go ahead and I'm going to start typing in this information as you are talking, and this will be presented on the website. If I need to go back and look at any of the slides that we need to go back, just let me know. But we want to carve out some time to just talk about the strengths and opportunities that we have based on the data that we saw from that spring administration. So, Ms. Tolman, I'll kind of lead that to you so you can kind of guide the conversation, and I'll just be typing as you all are discussing. And if I don't catch it here, this meeting is being recorded. I will definitely make sure that I get everybody's strengths and their opportunity statements, and it will definitely be in this document before it's uploaded to the website.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone that needs to see the data that was shared before you comment? Would anyone like to see the data? Okay. Well, would anyone like to share any? Let's start with strengths first, the positive. Any strengths that you saw in our school data? I would like to start with the strength because I am a kindergarten teacher. Us having of the 49% that met their goals in ELA and 81% in math. That's definitely a strong foundation for kindergarten.
I also would like to say that it shows great growth for the students with disabilities to be developing and then meeting proficient standards. So that's kudos to the school.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Does anyone have any other strengths they would like to highlight?
Third
I think
grade
yeah, I
be
thought that,
progressive.
right, the 3-5, third grade scores in reading were pretty good.
They were.
The math went down, but the math went down across from 3 through 5 each time from winter to spring, but the three held its own in reading. So that's a strength.
Oh gosh. No. I apologize.
I noticed that even though in first and second they didn't go up in their scores, but they also didn't go down. They were pretty solid and consistent on their scores. They stayed at 37%.
Thank you, Ms. Hilaire. Thank you, Ms. Rosales, for sharing. Someone else did, I'm sorry. Okay. Any other strengths we would like to highlight before we move to more opportunities for us? Okay, well,
I think there's a strength that the having everyone take the assessment, we know this data is, we have enough data to see where students lie. It would be different if you were running 80%, 70% of students taking the assessment and you don't know about the other 30 or 40%. Having 99% of to 100% of students testing on MAP, you're really able to get a good picture of where your strengths are and where there are opportunities for growth.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Ms. Nye. Would anyone like to share some more opportunities for growth for us?
I wish that we could see how attendance played apart with the decrease in some of these the math scores, or even with the ELA scores, like the student attendance.
I agree, Ms. Rosales. I do have that same wonder as well. I definitely also can see a opportunity for growth in ELA because, well, outside of the third grade reading scores, that's such a more complicated subject matter. So, opportunity with a different set of standards or curriculum too that will help us in those areas. So I can see that as an opportunity.
And I'm also wondering if with the new curriculum for ELA, will we be getting a new resource, like are we still going to be using Savis, or
Mhm.
that that's another question.
I can answer that question for you.
Okay.
For the ELA curriculum, it will remain with Savvis MyView. The curriculum, we have talked to the vendor. It has been updated to the new standards. We are trying our best to get teachers a preview of that before we leave. So we're in the works of just doing that. We did not feel with having new standards to try to bring in a whole new curriculum at the same time. That it wasn't the best, that wouldn't be the best decision to make to get teachers comfortable in both a curriculum and new standards. So for the next couple years, this is going to be our curriculum of choice, and they have been updated to both match the standards as well as prepare for the new ELA milestones that will be coming up in spring of 2026.
Thank you.
Ms. Nunn, can I ask you, does that mean it's the different books and different teacher guides and all of the things are new as well with that, even though I know it's the same curriculum, but would that mean a refresh of those things with the new standards?
Yes, we have asked for the full suite of everything so we can make sure that we have that every teacher K-5 has what they need for ELA.
Okay, thank you.
Will we have math teachers editions as well?
Sorry, I was looking for my microphone. I believe so. When the last time I looked, we were making sure that physical copies of the teachers' editions were available to all staff, so people won't be printing so much, and you have those there. I will definitely double check on that and make sure that that happens before you all come back in July.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other strengths or opportunities to highlight?
All right. So moving forward, the next part of this is just looking at, based on the responses that we just gave and the opportunities, what must be true for Slater Elementary to achieve excellence. So when we're looking at, and we want to make sure that we are covering both K2 and 3-5, what do we need to make sure that students are achieving excellence based on what we've seen with this data? And we're going to just do our top 3. So now the floor is open for discussion.
I don't know where it falls on the list, but the first word I was thinking was consistency. I know I appreciate you saying that since we're having new standards, that not having everything change, but sometimes when there are so many things to change, it's hard to continue to keep track. So as we get our new phonics and our new things, just giving it a chance to work itself. So, and all the other things to be in place. So I just think consistency.
I think Miss Rosales, her point on attendance was really important. Like, what are we going to do in order to put pressure on getting these children in school? Because we know the teachers are doing all that they can. So how do we get them in the seats and getting them to actually learn the material so that they can perform?
Mhm.
Active communication. Engaging with parents. Those are my thoughts.
All right, so we have being consistent, and when we're talking about consistency, it could be curriculum and our goals and our objectives, just making sure that we are giving it time to come to fruition. We're talking about the attendance needs and the communication, specifically about parent engagement. Have I captured based on what we just talked about, what people feel are some of our highest needs?
Yes.
All right. So next steps here, the senior leadership team here with Slater, we're going to be working on some of these things, and I'm happy to say that these are the same things that we've already started talking about, really talking about our parent engagement strategy for next year. When I get into the cluster-wide talks, we'll talk about attendance and, like I said, the consistency piece. So you all are just thinking along the same lines that the senior leadership here at Slater has also been thinking. So it's a good thing that we are in tandem together. We will begin meeting after July 1st to organize with the Go teams for next year. Like I said, we will have some new members, but once we have those new members, we'll bring them on board and we'll begin that process of working through some of the suggested needs that we just talked about. And during that first business meeting, we usually hold that in sometime in August, late August, early September. We are going to review these strategic priorities along with the priorities that we have from the cluster level of PBSA, and we'll look at the metrics for the year. So by that point, we'll be able to discuss our spring 2025 GMAS data, and then we'll look and see what the needs are. We'll look and see if we've met our goals from the previous year, and then we'll start talking about what the goals are for the upcoming year, school year 25-26. Next, I want to go ahead and go into the information items that we're talking about. So the first thing I want to talk about is the cluster advisory team. The cluster advisory team is made up of all of these schools that are in the Carver cluster. There's about there are 3 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. And during this meeting, we had an opportunity to meet and just talk about the cluster goals and see if we've met those goals. So there are 2 cluster priorities that have been in place for the Carver cluster this year. The first was to increase our average daily attendance by 2% to go from 87.4% to 89.4 by May. And then the second goal was by May 2025 to make sure that we collaborate and host 2 Carver cluster events to continue the momentum of unifying and strengthening the cluster. So looking at the first goal, we're on track to meet that attendance goal. As of March 24th, the cluster goal was 88.2. I do not have the data for Slater specifically, but that information can be attained from Principal Miles when he returns. We can have that data for the next meeting. But we are continuing to make efforts at this on the Slater end to make sure that we're getting students in. We do have an attendance team here in place. When students are absent, we have phone calls that go out. We members of our attendance team have targeted families if we have a higher percentage of tardies and absences from certain students. They receive more strategic support to one, figure out why students are not coming to school and see what supports if we need to get others involved beyond the schoolhouse. That might be the social worker, that might be other individuals, but those are on a individual student and family basis. So when students aren't coming in and we see that there's a consistent pattern of students that are not coming in, there are conversations that are happening and activities that are happening beyond what many people see, so we can try to get those students here into the building. Regarding the cluster goal, we did have two particular activities that goal was met. We did have a STEAM day held at all the cluster schools in November of 2024. And we actually just finished having an activity today here at Slater that was held through our enrichment classes. And so that was a STEAM activity where we did a partnership with some people who are working at Carver, at Carver. And we're looking to try to strengthen that partnership and create that pipeline so that as students are participating in STEAM activities at the elementary level, we continue that momentum as they go to Price and then as they go to Carver. So we're just in the early stages of that, but we've had conversations with the individuals that are doing that work at Carver, including the Carver principal and the Price principal. So we're definitely looking to make sure that we increase this participation as we continue moving forward. The second activity that happened, we had a STEAM night, and that was held at Sylvan Middle in March of this year. And that was open to all of the Carver cluster schools to participate in. And that was the gist of what was discussed at the Carver Cluster Advisory Team meeting. There was a portion of that meeting where they did more of a budget talk, and that was more about Atlanta Public Schools, but that information is available on the APS website. The next thing we want to talk about is for the information. Like I said, we are having Go Team elections, and we will be having possibly three new people who will be on our Go Team for the next year. Our parent candidate is Miss Erica Luckett, and we have two staff candidates. One is Miss Hilaire, a kindergarten teacher here at Slater, and then Miss Lovelace, who's a fourth grade teacher here at Slater. So these are our candidates. The actual election is open at this time, and I'm gonna go back to that slide that talks about the election details. The election is occurring between April 16th to the 25th. Every household, if you are a parent or guardian, has received an email from APS, and every staff member has received an email from APS. And in those emails, there's a unique link for individuals to vote for either your staff member who will be on the Go Team or your parent member that will be on the Go Team. If you actually go to the Go Team website for APS, there is more information regarding each of our candidates, and they have to answer a few questions, and you can see their answers to those questions on the Go Team website. And I will make sure that I put that particular website on the on our Go Team page so that you are able to see the information for our Go Team candidates. And lastly, announcements. So if you are a current Go Team member, please make sure you have completed your end of year surveys. They are available now. A link was sent to you. Our principal will be doing the principal feedback, and we need the Go Team members to do their satisfaction survey. If you have not completed your training, please make sure that you have done that as soon as possible. And you can contact the Go Team office if you have any questions, or if you need the information of where to find that training, you can contact the school, and we will make sure that we get that information to you. The last announcement I have for the evening is that this is that time of year. GMAS testing is occurring beginning this upcoming Monday. So as you can see, here are the dates that we have for GMAS testing. Our 3rd and 5th grade will be testing all next week, beginning on Monday, April 28th through Friday, May 2nd. They take one test per day, and they will be testing ELA and math. ELA has 3 parts, math has 2. On Monday, the 5th grade only has one more test, and that's the science test. They have 2 sections for the science test, but they take that both in the same day. 3rd grade, once they are done on May 2nd, if they have come for every administration, the main administration, they are done with milestones testing. 4th grade, if you have a 4th grade student, they begin their testing on May 5th, and that runs through Friday, May 9th. And again, they have ELA and math only. ELA again only has 3 parts and math has 2. We are strongly encouraging our families to make sure the kids come on the main administration, make sure they're coming on time. They can make sure they come in and they're getting breakfast, make sure they're getting a good night's sleep. Students who come late after we have started the assessment, we cannot admit those students into the assessment, so they would then have to take part in the makeup testing. And we do a rolling makeup session, so that means that they won't be able to do anything in the morning, but in the afternoon, they will be participating in that testing period. We're really trying to make sure that students are in that main administration and we don't have to do a lot of makeup testing. Letters went out to all students who are in 3rd grades 3 through 5 regarding the test. And they can always contact myself, Miss Nunn here at Slater, if they do have any other questions regarding the test, but we will start that on Monday. And that is all that I have for our meeting today, unless there are any other questions that you may have for me. All right, Ms. Tolman, we are ready. This meeting did not have any public comment, so we do not have any public comment at this point. So Ms. Tolman, I will turn it over to you to close out our meeting.
Thank you. Okay, well, we have someone to make a motion that we adjourn our meeting.
I motion it.
Can someone please second it?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. So we're adjourning the meeting and we will meet again on May 13th.
Yes, I will send out a calendar invite for everybody in the next day or so for that May 13th meeting, and it will be the same link. And by that time, we will have the results of our Go Team elections for the upcoming year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Good job.
Good night.
Good night.